Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Labonte and I'm coming to you today because I made an announcement earlier this week on the incredible honor and privilege that I have to be facilitating Sophia Circle Journeys coming up. And my first one's actually going to be in person in Manchester, New Hampshire. So really excited about that. But today I wanted to take a moment to actually share how the Sophia Code transformed my life. And I mean, gosh, it came into my life just like a roaring dragon. And my life hasn't been the same since, and all for the better. So I'll give you a little background. And some of you may already be aware of this, but back in June of 2014, I went through what I can only describe as like a spiritual awakening, epiphany, whatever you want to call it. But what happened during that time is I realized, and I had this like profound moment of just being filled with and experiencing complete unconditional divine love. And remembering that I was here for a reason. At the time, I didn't quite know what that reason was, but I had to get a move on and really start looking at my life in a different way, energy in a different way, and also this deeply prompted me to start really reflecting at how I was perceiving the world around me and what I could be at cause for. So I share that because then the 6 years following, oh my gosh, I mean, I went on a lot of deep journeys. My coaching clients know this, that there's certain energy healing modalities that I practice and utilize in my coaching practice because I'm a firm believer in that, yeah, we can talk, but sometimes when we pause and then allow the space for a miracle to occur, that's where the magic happens. And so that's when I love bringing in those tools from my cosmic tool belts into play, to really just be that facilitator. Although in reality, when it comes to the people that I work with, it's really their higher self and God, Goddess, Source, Creator, Universe, however you perceive that great spirit, but doing that work. Anywho, so over those 6 years from like 2014 to 2020, I mean, there was so much in-depth practice. This is not an exaggeration. I've meditated probably like thousands of hours, in between, just for my daily practice to, more in-depth energy work and reflection. And, I share that because I really was laying groundwork at the time that I wasn't fully aware of. And, when I reflect back to those 6 years, I changed drastically in just how I observe the world, um, how I wanted to act and be in the world. But of course, I still, and I mean, I'm human. It's all a journey. There's no destination, but I still certainly had work to do. And in March of 2020, funny enough, that was when the Sophia Code came into my life. And the moment I saw it, and it was actually for a Sophia Circle journey that I ended up going on, I just knew. I'm like, yes, all of this, I'm meant to be on this journey. And what was interesting is the Ascended Key Code Masters that we work with in the Sophia Code were all masters in some capacity or another that had worked within my throughout my entire life, and especially over the past 6 years, from 2014 to 2020. And it was just one of those moments where it was like, oh, gosh, how divinely awesome that, every piece of the puzzle then was culminating to this. So then when I began reading the Sophia Code, the quantum leaps that I made in just who I was, who I am now, who I'm evolving to be, and even more deeply stepping to my divine purpose were profound. If I had not picked up the Sophia Code and started participating in the Sophia Circle journey at that time, I don't know that I would have left my corporate job. Because all of a sudden, a few months later, it was in July of 2020, it was something just all of a sudden clicked and came into alignment and coherence. And I felt I had the support, both from just within myself, like the confidence and the belief in myself, to take this drastic leap of no longer staying in a structure that was really safe to me, right? And I just felt like it was this unshakable faith that really came over me. And again, if it wasn't for the work I was doing with the Sophia Code and have continued to do, I've read it multiple times now over the past few years, and have obviously gone even deeper with it since I decided to take the leap to become a Sophia Circle leader. I don't even want to know where my life would be without it. Truly. And I wanted to share that pearl of wisdom, like that, my own personal testimonial with it, for those of you who may be curious as to what this is and maybe even wanting to explore it further. And even if you don't live in New Hampshire, there are Sophia Circle leaders all around the world. And at some point I actually will do a virtual circle so I can connect with anyone anywhere. But for right now, I'm starting with in person. But even the first step of just reading the Sophia Code, it could be what's meant for you. And if it's not, that's totally fine. I just at least wanted to share what happened for me. And of course, like, everyone has their own unique journey, your own unique unfolding of your beautiful book, your beautiful story in this lifetime. So just be mindful of that. Who knows what your next chapter is going to unfold, or how it's going to unfold. But I just know that when I work like in this consciousness and from this space of like Sophia Christ consciousness, divine feminine Christ consciousness, and even divine masculine Christ consciousness, because both are equal and beloved and necessary. That's like another video for another day that I can talk about. But that's what our world needs now, is just from us, or at least I'll speak for myself, to be acting from a more conscious, aware, unconditionally loving space. And unconditional love, it's not only for others, but for yourself. Oh my gosh, over the past 2 years, how I've gone so much deeper in terms of what true self-love means. And not for the sake of, oh, if I love myself, then there's a reward at the end, or there's something that I'm getting at the other side. No. Learning to love yourself and love others unconditionally. I mean, if everyone became conscious of the power of that, and also just the beauty and grace of that in our world, how different would our world be? And again, I'm a human on this human journey. I still have a whole range of emotions. I'm still learning, I'm still growing, but I'm immensely grateful for the power of this work, the coming home to my own innate sovereign divinity, which again, I started to really grasp and dive into those 6 years prior, but then it just clicked. And I'll share this too for those of you who've been on the spiritual path, spiritual journey, and you haven't worked with the Sophia Code yet. Yeah, you may find it's just like that, providing that next step in your evolution. And for those who maybe you feel like you're just kind of starting out, and that's perfectly, again, we're all at different places. And that's completely fine. But working in that consciousness and in that space and with those mentors, so that way you can connect with your own divine wisdom within, not necessarily solely relying on what's outside of you, but then learning to trust and reconnect to that higher self wisdom within. It's such a beautiful, beautiful way to embark on not only changing your life, but then that just ripples out to everyone you touch from there. Everyone that you connect with, communicate with, interact with, like you taking the step on your own journey of sovereign divinity, it changes the world. It truly does. So I hope this has been helpful. Like I said, I felt it was really important for me to be seen in this way, to share my own story with the Sophia Code. And believe me, I could share even more, but at least you got you got what was needed for today. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, my Sophia Circle journey, it's going to be a year-long, 13-month journey beginning May 17th. It's going to be really exciting. And this is in person. This is in Manchester, New Hampshire. But at some point, I will be doing it virtually as well. But for right now, it'll be in person, which will be just an incredible sacred opportunity to sit in ceremony and to carve out this time and this space to honor the divinity within you. So thank you so much for watching and for listening. I'm immensely grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you.